All right. Welcome back to the Property Power Couple with Colton and Haley, providing comfort and confidence to your real estate experience.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
How are you?
Good.
It's great.
It's warm outside.
Finally. I'm a little concerned. Nope, coffee's right on point.
I made
with
it.
love. Thank you.
I made it.
You're the best real estate agent ever.
That one's me.
Wife and business partner.
Oh.
You're just all around an amazing human.
You are
well,
too.
you know, before we jump in, let me just lead with some gratitude.
Okay.
And just tell you how thankful I am for you.
Don't make me cry on our podcast.
Well, I'm not going to. Christian can edit it out, but you're an amazing person, and I'm genuinely thankful to be walking down this interesting path with you.
Yeah, I can't walk down this path with anyone else.
No, Lord,
I'm
no.
glad that it's you.
There's, yeah. So, anyway, this morning I was reading an article in Inman that was talking about the 6, let's see, what was it titled? The 6 bad habits great agents avoid.
Ooh, okay.
And what they do instead.
Okay.
And what I thought was interesting about it was as I was reading through it, I was going, well, we've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, done that too.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to throw some of these to you and see what you agreed with, when you've kind of experienced that, the moment you realized, hey, I need to stop doing this and do something different.
Okay.
So the first one was trying to do everything.
Ooh.
And the part of it that I thought was most notable and also kind of hilarious was that it says, Confucius once famously said, the man who chases 2 rabbits catches neither. And then I had this vision of you chasing rabbits.
Yeah, I'm not very outdoorsy like that. So
if I ever came home and saw you chasing a rabbit in the backyard,
yeah, no,
I would immediately call the police.
Something's wrong.
There was a lunatic running around our backyard.
But the concept of trying to do everything is something that I definitely struggle with. Mm. And that's something that has improved over time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I would agree that it is something that great agents try to avoid. Mm-hmm. Because when we try to do it all, and I wouldn't just say this is agents, I think it's just leaders in general. When you try to do it all, something's going to fall through. Something's not going to be your best work because you're doing things that maybe aren't your skill set.
Right.
And so me trying to do it all, it worked fine at a certain level of production. I could handle it all. And then there were things that needed my attention and it was no longer Haley do it all. Mm-hmm. And that goes across to anything, whether it's from the brokerage level of stuff or it goes to the other like events and nonprofit work that we do. Like, you know, we have committees and things made up of that so that no one has to try to do it all.
Right.
And so really leaning into that. And then the biggest part was never getting an assistant and finding the right assistant that could handle the right things to take off my plate. I don't really ever ask them to do anything that I can't do, but they can probably do it better. Right. Christian does the marketing stuff better than I can do. Mm-hmm. And so that coming off my plate allows me to focus more on the contracts and the leads and the relationships. Yeah. And so by not trying to do it all, I've been able to outsource the things that take up the most time. Kind of. It's not always about just that one task that takes forever. It's making sure that you're delegating the right things. Right. So you can do the most important stuff.
Well, it's like the right seat, right person.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's not always just like, oh, well, that takes a lot of time, so Christian's going to do that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to do it all. You know, this thing takes up 2 hours of my day that I really need to be doing these other things. Right. And so now I can focus on those better. So by not trying to do it all, we're able to do more.
Yeah. Well, I've even seen that on the property management side with Kelsey. I mean, there are things genuinely, I'm an amazing human, but I am not.
You are.
I am not you, nor am I Kelsey. And that is just.
She's pretty good.
Every single day I am reminded, hey, that's something that I don't need to do. Mm-hmm. Not because I can't do it, or not because I wouldn't, with enough time and energy, I could get it done. But being able to hand it off to her and she can do it in 30 minutes and it's going to take me 2 hours. Yeah. And her product is way better than mine. What am I doing? You know?
Yeah. Well, allowing that delegation to happen, not trying to do it all, delegate. Yeah. And then relying on your delegation. Mm-hmm. Don't go back and just start doing it because, you know, like you send it to them and then you do it anyways. Right. No, like rely on your delegation. Yeah.
One of the other ones that I thought you've actually said this to me on multiple occasions, unfortunately, but the idea of being proactive versus reactive.
Is that one of the that's one of the ones?
Okay. Yeah. So really, instead of saying, when was a time where you could have been proactive versus reactive, what are the steps that you take in our system and our processes to ensure proactivity versus reactivity?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different things come to mind. Like, first is like doing the push-ups. Like, you know, you have to do those fundamental tasks so that you become proactive. You're in front of everybody. You're keeping those relationships going. You're communicating. You're doing all those things instead of waiting for the referral to come to you.
Yeah.
You're doing things proactively to help generate them versus just sit and wait.
Yeah.
You know, if we just sat and wait for every deal to come, like, we might not have one.
Probably be real hungry.
Yeah. And we like to be fed.
I like to eat.
I like to eat. That's like a very base level, right?
Yeah.
Is do the work so that you can live in a proactive state. And then other things that come to mind are like the training and the practice and all of that, knowing how to handle objections. So whenever they come to you, you already have a script or a dialogue that you've practiced, that you have some little nuggets tucked away that when that thing comes up, you know how to respond versus reacting to it.
Right.
So, you know, a big easy example is, well, I don't want to pay that compensation. And you already have practiced how to explain your worth in it.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, well, that's what I'm supposed to, like, that's it. Now you're saying things like, well, here's a list of all things that I do, why I feel I earn that. And, here's ways that I think I can stand out and I can truly earn that for you.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just think that handling those and having that practice and that skill set is a very proactive way to go into an appointment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when you were saying that, it made me think of this book called Discipline Equals Freedom by Jocko Willink. And it's a self-help kind of thing, but it really puts some practical, very digestible chunks in there. And one of the ideas is that life is hard. Yeah. And being successful and being in front of all the problems as much as you can be is hard. And also reacting to them is also hard. Yeah. Right? So choose your hard. Being in shape is hard. Being out of shape is hard. Choose your hard. And there are times when we're running through some of these systems and these things, and it gets a little mundane. It's repetitive. But if you do the push-ups and you do those things that kind of suck, when you wake up in the morning, you actually get to control your day more than you would otherwise, because you're not having all these fires pop up that you haven't already put the chemical out to keep them at bay. Right.
And I think of like trainings, like, well, why do I need to go to one more training about how they work our CRM?
Yeah.
Well, because if one thing is said and you hadn't been doing that, you can add it to your business, and now you've taken a proactive approach to working that system.
Yeah.
Why should you continue to go to trainings? I read the contract all the time. Why do I need to go to a contract?
Yeah.
Because someone's going to ask a question that you haven't heard yet, and now you're going to have a response. Someone's going to word something differently than you might have worded it, and now you have a better way to communicate to a certain type of person.
Yeah.
So by being proactive, I don't mean only sit in trainings and don't ever, no, you got to do it all.
Right.
But having that skill set and knowing how to communicate the objections that come at you is a very easy way to be proactive in this industry.
God, yeah. Well, and it just makes you feel better.
Yeah, you feel confident, and confidence sells stuff, man.
It's insane to me how you can get off. You can be having a horrible day. Nobody's answering, or they're all telling you to go not call them again. And you have one good conversation, and somebody brings up an objection, and you can competently and confidently respond to it, and you get a leg up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
The other thing, or one of the other things, was never changing. Ooh. And before you go here, I want to reframe it a little bit, because our problem, it does not seem to be a lack of change.
No, we don't seem to have that problem.
No, if we have an issue, it's the never-ending cycle of change that we seem to be confronted with on a daily basis. But in all reality, never changing. Let's just start there, and then I'll kind of reframe it as we go. So
our industry doesn't allow you to not change.
Right.
I mean, if you're still doing things the way you did them 5 years ago, you're not going to be in business in 5 years. You have to adapt with it, from technology to tools to most recently just the contract. Our most basic information about brokerage services that everybody gets was changed again this month.
Right.
And so you have to go in and you have to update it everywhere and make sure that you have the right form. So just from that very basic level of the forms change, and you have to keep up with that.
Right.
But if you're not changing the way that you're communicating to people, if you're not changing the way that you're trying to connect with everybody, if you're not keeping up with the technology, knowing how to use it to work within your business, if you're not changing with some of that stuff, you're going to get stuck.
Right.
And I'm not saying that every day try something different, just change it up.
Yeah.
Calls work, notes work. There are things they don't change, but maybe you refresh your newsletter and now it links back to the videos that you've been doing. Those small changes can help you capture your audience, capture your clientele, your sphere of people. And if you don't change with it, you're going to get stuck. Now, I think that's more what it meant, not like the massive changes, like let's open a property management company, let's open a brokerage.
Complicate your life.
I know Danny always jokes with me that like we handle multiple changes at one time more than normal humans are supposed to. But those are big life changes that you can't be scared of. But I think it means more from like a fundamental, making sure you're keeping up, but not losing who you are.
The primary goal of that little snippet was that from a more of a marketing standpoint, it used to be that you could send out mailers to everybody in your database once a month, and those things still work. Yeah. But there's been so much evolution and change in social media, YouTube, video content, that if you're not adapting with it, like this right here.
Yeah, we didn't do this before. This is
the adaptation to the change in the marketplace of how people are getting their content, how they're wanting to consume it. And from a video perspective, this was like the main point of it, that these agents are the ones leaning into AI right now. These are the agents that are shooting the most video content right now. These are the agents that are diligently building their personal brand while others are still doing things that used to work. Yeah. So really, when I was initially reading it, what I was thinking in my head was how often are you changing the tools that you're using to a detriment, right?
Right.
Like, just because your CRM is Referral Maker, Referral Maker's been around for forever. Yeah, and it's a great tool. It works as designed and it does the things, and it's even evolved to this growing landscape of video content and all these things. So don't necessarily change all your tools and systems, but evolve with the technology.
Yes, you can make small changes within what you're currently using to stay relevant.
Yeah. So this next one is pretty wild, and we're just going to cover two more. But it says scrolling without a purpose. Oh,
I'm definitely not guilty of that one.
Well, and I'm gonna kick it off on this one, because what I have had to do is mute my notifications throughout the workday, and try as hard as I can not to allow myself to get into Twitter or X or Instagram or any of these things, because you get in there and your initial idea is good, right? Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go post this thing. Hey, I'm gonna do this, and then one slippery click of a button,
it's just so easy.
You're into the doom scroll. So that doesn't happen to you.
No, never. But we do talk about it a lot, about the fact of like, if you have the time to be on social media doing that, you have the time to post something relevant of your own, or to set it down, do that when you get home, do that later, and try to refocus your day.
Yeah, no, it's a good one, and I think it's one of those ones. In there, it was talking about the amount of hours, and it came out to almost 2.5 hours.
Oh my God, do you remember when Steven made us do that?
That was really bad. Thanks a lot, man. I will say, one of the things that was really helpful from that particular talk was that I went in, and in my email, I started going through each individual spam email that I get that is not relevant to real estate. It's not relevant to anything. It was just something I signed up for a long time ago, and I got rid of all those. And so now when I log in every morning, there are still probably 30-ish
like
emails
you're still gonna
that populate throughout the day, like overnight into the morning. But those are all relevant. But coming in and seeing 300 emails, and I cleared it out before I left. it changes the game. There is
Yeah.
no more mental gymnastics that I have to do that just drains my energy of actually being able to focus on what I need.
Yeah, so not just scrolling social media, but
Your
time
email.
suck scrolling of your email.
It's a dark place to find yourself.
Yeah, let's try to avoid it. Apparently, great agents avoid it.
Yeah. So the next one is learning but not taking action.
Ooh.
And what I really want to kind of pivot to on this one is when, say, you go to a conference, you take great notes, there's these great speakers, all this great information. How does Haley take all of those days and pages of notes and put them into a situation where you can apply it?
Okay. It is hard because you're there and you're getting the Kool-Aid and you're getting all the energy and you're like, I'm going to go do all of these things and
We're
make
gonna
$1 million.
take over the world. Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, what did he say? And what did I say I was going to do?
How was I supposed to do
And
that?
so this is something that Michael has done a lot. And then also that Stephen has done that we've done. And now we've taken it to multiple different conferences, even to our own agents when we're doing trainings and creating your win list, your action list.
Yeah.
So when you're taking all of these notes and you have all this stuff going on, I always have a separate page that is the actual win action list. So this is the list whenever someone's talking and I'm thinking, ooh, I can actually implement that. That is something I could start doing today. And I put it on my action win list. And so now I have a list of the top takeaways of things that I need to either figure out or implement. And so I still have pages of notes. And I still go back through them. And because everything's on the iPad, it's easier because I can go, oh yeah, that guy was talking about that conference. I go to that folder, I open it up and I can find it, right? So that is really helpful. So if you're not using your iPad like that, like to take notes and things, I really should. It's so nice for this type of thing. But that win list, that action item list is really the game changer because you get to simplify those 30 pages of notes down into a list of things that you can actually take away. So that's been a real game changer. That now I have a list and you know how I like my checklist and now I can go, okay, did we add all these things in? And sometimes it's go figure out this tool more. Sometimes it's look into this. Is it something you want to do? And then sometimes it's going, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that button was there. Turn that button on. Like we're going to like go do that right now.
Do that right now.
And so, you know, some things are bigger or smaller or, you know, anything, but it's all on that list. So now we have an action list to take after that conference.
Oh, that's huge. Well, I hate it when you go through these great, you get this high from conference, and you take it all home and then you sleep and then everything's on fire and you forget it.
Yeah, and you get back and you were gone for 3 or 4 days, so let's just call it a week. And now you're going, oh my goodness, here's all the things I didn't get to do while I was gone and all these things I missed and I got to get caught back up and all of that. And so if you're doing the first thing by not trying to do it all and you've delegated out some of your workload for that week, then when you get back, you can do that. Also scheduling your time. So making sure the couple weeks after your event, you've scheduled some time to work on the event. You know, so if you just put it into practice like that, it's easier. And if you have a checklist of things that you knew you wanted and you're not having to go reread all of your notes to figure out what you wanted to do, it just really helps. Now you're going to need your notes and you're going to reference back to them. But that one page of these are the things that are going to happen.
That was the game changer for the last one. Is just being able to go back and go, oh yeah. I remember because I actually put like behind all the notes, I inserted a page that was to-dos, essentially the win list. It was like, hey, go and implement this social media strategy. Go and improve this system. Why do we not have a move out checklist? Why is this thing not in place? Why is this not in place? And then you came back and you were able to implement it.
Sometimes it's even, oh my goodness, I used to do that and I stopped. And it's like, go start that
that's
again.
Usually the one that hits
that makes
the
me
hardest.
so mad, right? And so it's just that separate list is a really good way to stay ahead of that and actually implement what you learned instead of just learning it. Because once the quote, like learning with no action is just listening or something like that.
It's education without application is entertainment.
Yes. See, that was my version. It was pretty much the same. So, all right.
Well, it sounds like the last one is just being overly optimistic or unrealistically, being blindly optimistic. Basically, do the push-ups, do the work, stay positive, but don't just sit there on your hands and expect something good to happen. And
know the time frame it takes for things to happen. Like especially in real estate, like just because you got a buyer today doesn't mean you're closing tomorrow. Like things just take time. So just knowing that realistic expectation, but yes, positivity will help.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that is all that we have, and I'm just happy to know that you are avoiding the 6-bag habits. That great.
I am trying. I am trying.
Cheers
Yes.
to you, dear.
You too, babe.
See y'all later. btrgympm.com, nextfilmonmain.com. We'd love to hear from you down in the comments. Like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.